Subscribe to this channel or follow me and never miss another episode of the Mindset Playground. Also, I can't wait to see you on the playground at Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and LinkedIn. Hey everyone, welcome to the Mindset Playground, where you're going to get your daily dose of positivity. And I'm your host, LouAnne Hunt. And I am so excited that you have joined me here today because, it's all about reinvention. I've been talking a lot about that. So if your reinvention feels a little overwhelming, maybe it's not about changing your life. Maybe it's about listening to it in layers. My guest today is Kim, and she is a good friend of mine, and she has come to the playground to talk to us about how you can reinvent your life. Welcome to the Mindset Playground, Kim. How are you doing today?
I'm fine, thank you.
Good. And can I ask you a little bit about what you do? Maybe you can explain to the audience.
So my journey as of my life right now is I have lived many lives doing many different things. Before I came to where I am today, I used to be a Tibetan medicine practitioner. I am a Tibetan medicine practitioner. And I was in the naturopath medicine for a while, and I was also a yoga instructor and a drum leader circle for the natives around here. I used to do that for a while too. So basically, I do a little bit of everything, and my journey as of now is basically collecting stories and collecting medicine over time and how to help a spirit overcome transformation and how to help the soul go through the breakthrough of life and find meaning of why we are the way we are and what does it mean to be human.
Wow, that's amazing. And I'm so glad that you've taken the time to come and speak with us today about your journey and what it is that you are finding from it. So for today. So I know that you were concerned about some things about recording this earlier. And I'm just finding that today might be a better day for you. And can you maybe explain to the audience why that is?
So today is I do a lot of astrology too. So today is Mercury goes into retrograde, and like you mentioned in your introduction about reinventing, right? So when Mercury is in retrograde is a time to um re as in re like redo, um remind, redefined, reassess, and is a time where you go back and repeat the lessons that you haven't learned to remind yourself that, hey, you've been off course. And then in this show is really to reinvent, right? So today is a perfect opportunity because today is the first day of Mercury retrograde. And usually with Mercury in retrograde is Mercury is a planet about the brain, about thoughts, about communication, about how to interact. It's a very airy planet. And last week was and the week before was in preparation for the Lunar New Year of the year of the fire horse. And as we're moving into the fire horse is very fiery. And I try to organize and plan to get everything out. And I was hoping it would be a good opportunity because this is a really great opportunity for also to share with my students and also share with my people about, hey, it's a brand new year. This is the thing. And here we go. But like I mentioned before, the time wasn't right. It wasn't right. Um, I was still trying to collect information and meditate some more on what is the path on how we need to take. So for me, sometimes it takes a couple days, sometimes it takes me a week. But anyways, so today is happened to be the day after I meditated this morning and I just got the hint like, hey, it's today's the time. You need to go record. And I was a little bit hesitant also, to be honest with you. I don't like to have my face shown, basically. So usually when I do a podcast is behind not behind not behind the camera, is usually behind the mic. And that way I get to be a little bit more open and authentic. And because sometimes when I speak through spirit or spirit comes through me, my persona shifts and change. And I'm not really that comfortable being in front of the camera to see that happen. So this is the first time that I'm actually showing myself and showing who I am in a Zoom. And thank you very much for Miss Julie, my partner in creating the journal, who got me started. And because I talked to her last week, because I'm sure you did an interview with her and had a really good conversation. And when we were talking, and we're just talking over text. And then she was like, well, how come you're not doing it yet? And I'm like, because it's a time, I gotta feel it, I gotta feel right. And then, and honestly, I'm like, I don't do Zoom over, with the whole camera thing. That's not my thing. And anyway, so she said something that made me think about like, okay, you've been hiding, which I have, honestly. So a lot of spiritual teachers, leaders, healers, when you are blessed with the gift, you have a responsibility. And with responsibility, it comes with a great price. And the price that sometimes we have to pay that people don't really understand is we give a lot to ourselves to serve humanity as a whole. And oftentimes we kind of neglect ourselves. And I knew and I felt like that was the past of all the great teachers and spiritual leaders. They wanted to spread the word, they wanted to help heal, but they gave it all, but they didn't give any to themselves. And one way I was giving it to myself was, hey, if I stay hidden, then I'm not really open to criticism. And if I am open to criticism, well, they don't know who I am. So I get to play different avatars of I am this and I'm that. So when you ask me for an introduction of who I am, so I'm a mother, I am a friend, I am a daughter, I am a healer, I am a doctor, I am a florist, I am a therapist, I am a teacher. So I play many roles, and those many roles over the past, I get to play in different settings and different environment and different timelines, different zones. And it allowed me to play with different avatars and different personality to find out what being human is all about. But when I show myself or when I present it, openly like I am now, and this is actually the first time. So, Julie's like, stop hiding already and it's time. And at first I was like, nah, I'm good. Let me learn some more. But that was just an excuse for me to just say, you know, they're not ready. They're not ready. I'm ready, but I don't think they're ready for me. Because that's one of the things of, being a healer, a teacher, is you have to be raw, you have to be authentic, and sometimes you have to speak the truth. And oftentimes the truth hurts, right? And
Well, I think that this is a great platform for you. I think that we have some amazing listeners who are very much into wanting to know about transformation and pivoting. And I think that you are probably the reason why they're going to listen to this, because you have something to say. And I think that it will be well received. And the timing, like you said earlier, it's like picking the fruit, right? You have to pick the fruit when the fruit is ripe. And you were feeling that today is a good day for that. So I am honored that you are here, honestly.
Thank you. Thank you.
Honestly. So let's get into the layers of healing. I know that you talk a lot about that you often speak about it, layers and dimensions, the body, the mind, and the spirit. So if someone feels stuck in their life, which layer do you think is usually asking for attention first?
So let's give some foundation first. So according to Tibetan medicine, and this is what I've learned, right? So when a soul decided to become human, to incorporate a human body, and when a soul decided, hey, I'm going to come into this world during this time, doing this place, and doing um, this family. So just like astrology, when you look in the astrology, you look at your map and your plan of when did you come in, why did you come in. So usually in astrology, it's composed of 12 different houses, right? So the 12 different houses are the 12 different lessons that you go through life. So to say that healing is only has to do with spirituality and dealing with physical, that is very simplistic of
Okay.
how to see healing. And the word healing means to stop, to heal. So when you are walking a dog and you're like, heal, what happens? The dog stops. Where does it stop? It stopped by your feet, by your heel, right? And heal means to stop. So when a person is going through a healing process, is is to stop. What are they stopping? They're stopping the suffering. They're stopping their story of what they put into their mind of what they see, what reality is. They're stopping the the negative force of toxicity. That can be people, that can be a vocation, that can also be in a situation where they're at. So healing process begins to recognizing what needs to stop. And when you understand that, hey, I need to stop this negative self-talk, I need to stop thinking that I'm not worthy of being well, because when a person is well off, what's the tendency to happen? They, as a mother, this is speaking from experience. So when I am sharing with you a lot of the stories, is basically I'm speaking from my own experience, and I'm also speaking from experience of how I see and treat other people and their stories that came through me. So as a mother, right, sometimes we tend to give. We give everything. Then we go into a bankruptcy where we have no more energy to give. So then what happens when the body has no more energy? And energy is currency. Currency is what's the electricity that's running inside your body. And when you don't have currency, what happens? It blacks out. It shuts down. So you came into this world, spirit, God, the divine says, hey, you came here. You said you wanted to learn something, right? Because
Right.
you wanted to come to this university, and this universe is also a university. So we're all here to learn. What are we learning? Every soul has different lessons that they need to learn. Some, they say, hey, you know what? I just want to learn about love. Okay, you want to learn about love? I'm going to teach you what hatred is like. I'm going to teach you what pride is like. I'm going to teach you what ignorance is like. All right. So what does that mean? So a person, so say a mom Give, 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 give. She's like, oh, this is, everybody needs me, and I got to get better so I could just give to everybody. But they don't give to themselves. So then life happens. It shuts you down. It breaks you on your track, and it says, hello, you need to stop. Why do you need to stop? Because you got to remind yourself with an RE, remind yourself why you are here. So then you have to think, okay, well, what is the reason for my existence besides giving birth to the kids? And I give. So then the person go through some kind of sickness, right? And that sickness allows them to take a break from responsibility. Oh, I can't take the kids to school. Oh, I can't take the kids to, softball, baseball, music, recital, because they're always too busy giving because they have no more energy. So then they have to stay put in where they are. So then the responsibility begins to drop off. And when the responsibility begins to drop off, then they regain their energy, they regain their sense of their purpose. And maybe to stop is to heal, is to be able to say, no, no, I cannot do that. No, it's not my time. No, I have too much to do. I can't give you that. So then that is the beginning of the healing process, is to understand and remind themselves what do they need to stop. And so the word healing is to stop. And as a human being, we go through life. And I tell my kids this, and if your audience is in a younger generation, the millennial age group, I just want to tell them this, okay? And I'm sure a lot of people are going to tell them this. Life is supposed to be hard. It's not easy. We didn't come here to have an easy life. You can tell yourself the story that, oh, it's going to be easy. But everything in life has its season. If you look at nature, what happens in nature? Nature has its season. There are 4 seasons. There's spring, where everything is blooming, growing. It's great regrowth. Then you hit summer. Summer, the fruit is ripe. You're enjoying friends and you're enjoying family. And then what happens? Then it's fall. Everything begins to fall apart. Then it's winter. So what happens in the winter? You go into dormant. You regain your energy. Then what happens again? Then it's spring. Oh, after you becoming dormant, you blooming again. So all of nature is a cycle. So we are here, and it's a cycle of life. You will have a good time. You will have an easy time. You will have a blessed time. But then there's also, you will have a time where you need to learn, and you have to learn what your lessons are. Because every lesson comes with a blessing. So when we're talking about the healing process with a soul coming in, you are a star that you come in. So now you have an astrology chart, and that astrology chart shows you, hey, this is going to be what your family struggle is going to be like, and you're also what your family blessing is going to be like. And hey, this is what your occupational, your career is going to be like. And oh, by the way, this is going to be your friendship area too. And by the way, as a little bonus, you have to deal with the daily life choices, as in owning a house, owning the cars, having things, having blessed with all these material things, or not blessed with all these material things. But then in the process, we're going to see how strong you are. So we're going to add just a little bit more entertainment. So we're going to give you a lot of toxic people. How do you handle that? If you're here to learn about love, can you really love toxic people? Can you really love people who are narcissists? Are you going to learn? Or are you just going to go and be more hatred? Right? So when we're talking about transformation, and when we're talking about being stuck, it's a choice of that star, that soul, Do you want to be stuck in the yuck? And then if you do, what are you going to do about it? It's
Right.
okay, right?
Yeah.
So, and then when I think of being stuck, I think of like imagine if you fall into a sand pit, right? And like quicksand. And there are a group of people like, uh-oh, what do I do? And they cry and they yell and they move. And they self-pity, help me. And then they use all this energy on crying, but then the quicksand just only eats them more and more. And that is just how the energy of the body works, right? So when you spill all this negativity and all these complaints and all these criticism and all these condemning, this is what I call the three C's, is, criticism on yourself. I can't do this. I'm not good enough. And the condemning, oh, the world hates me, and criticism, condemnation, and what was the third C? Anyways, just came and went. So anyways, um, yeah, so it's that's the same thing when you're in quicksand, is you are just you're hurting yourself by expending energy that is not helpful. So when you're in quicksand, what do? You need to stop, right? Heal, you need to stop. Assess, where are you? Okay, is there a tree nearby? Do I have something that I could get out of this? And then, okay, if I need, oh, there's a tree there. But if I run and I move too much, the sand's going to hit me a lot quicker. So what do you need to do? So when you are at the stopping point, this is when you need to reassess yourself. This is when you need to find out what's your goal is. And a lot of people who going into a healing crisis, my question always to them, do you really want to be here? Do you? Do you really want to show up for yourself? Because it's easier to make excuses why life is treating you bad than to actually being honest. Because when you admit that, yeah, I want to be here. Well, if you want to be here, it's going to take a lot of work. But do you want to work? Do you really want to, you know, go through all the life's struggles to really be here? Because once you admit that you are willing to be here and you got to do what it takes, then you're taking responsibility for yourself. And when you're taking responsibility for yourself, then you are reaffirming your sole purpose of saying, "Hey, I'm worthy to be here. And you know what? I'm going to be in this university, and that means if I have to flunk physics, I'm going to retake it again."
So can I ask you a question? Can we just back up a little bit? You did mention that you're a leader, a drum leader for a drum circle.
Uh-huh.
So can we talk about that? What is the real purpose or the meaning behind drum circles? What do they do for the universe and for you, basically?
So, how I got into the drumming and how I actually got into where I am is I came into this world not by I maybe my soul had other purposes of why I came. But when my mom so I'm from a family of nine. So my mom already had seven children. She was on birth control for 4 years. And she was like, I'm done. Seven, I'm done. So after 4 years, even though on birth control, I decided, hey, I'm gonna come in. And when she found out she was pregnant with me, she was like, "Oh my God, this child is going to be, has all this deformity because I've been, I didn't think I was pregnant. I'm gonna, so she wasn't, kind of concerned, right?" But somehow my grandmother was the medicine woman, so she's like, "Well, when a soul decides to come in, it's going to come in, even though you want it or not. It's going to come in." So when I came into this world, totally unexpected. um, and went through uh, different points in my life. So I was born in Vietnam. The war came into Vietnam. I left Vietnam, moved to Germany during the war, lived in Germany as a refugee for a year, then moved to America, went to America, uh, lived with the whole family, finally got reunited in America. Go through life. All my brothers, sisters are all engineers. I was going to become an engineer. I failed physics. And the reason why I failed physics, as my physics teacher says, because I always wanted to know, well, if energy cannot be destroyed or, and it has to come somewhere, what happens when the soul dies, right? What happens to them? I mean, we believe in reincarnation, but you guys don't. So what happened to that energy? Then she's like, I'm going to give you a D minus if you don't get out of engineering because engineering is not for you. You got to go study. You got to go study other science, study about the human body, go become a doctor because I think that's where you are supposed to head. So then went to I went into science, I went into chemistry, got my master's and PhD in studying about people with disabilities and understanding why certain people who come with disability have such a hard life, but then yet they are so full of love at the same time, right? Because that was one of my things. And I was doing research up in the North Pole, up in Alaska. And when I was, this is when I was doing my PhD work and understanding what is the meaning of health towards the Alaska Native. And up there in the Bering Sea, the people are so raw, they are so authentic because they're living in such a harsh environment, right? For them, science is nature. Nature is science. But during that time when I was doing research, science is you have to prove A plus B equals C. Up in the Arctic Circle, A is what it is, B is what is given. You might get C, you might get D, you might get F, you might get G, but don't really know, right? And as a scientific mind, and this is one of my personality, because I grew up with brothers and sisters who are very analytical. 1 + 1 = 2, right? And this is how it works. So I'm very analytical when it comes to science, and everything has to make sense to me. So when I get up to Alaska, nothing makes sense because 1 + 1, maybe later the universe will be another one, and you can add up to 3, right? Because there's no rules or rhyme and reason why they have to follow a straight path. So this is how I got into the spiritual world. And in the spiritual world, up in Alaska, we used to do these things called potlatches. Potlatches is when the young kids become an adult, and they used to drum. And the men would drum and the women would dance. And what the drumming is they beat the sound of nature. The drumming is the heartbeat of the earth's frequency, which is 432, which is the heart of nature. Each of the songs that they sing, they dance to, is their way of prayer on thanking the elements for harmonizing so they could live through life, so they could give birth, so they could be grateful for the food that is given. So they are blessed with good weather, so they could pick berries, so they could make dessert. So beating with the drum is also the earth's frequency, which is also grounding where they are. And when they ground and where they are, then they're giving a certain vibration to all the animals all the bears, all the moose, all the antlers. Um, what is the living beings in different costumes that or different avatars that they come in um, to balance itself. So when I was introduced to the drumming, I was in a drum circle for almost 25 years. And when I first came, I was one of the baby. So in my earlier life, the first say 50 years is I'm one of those students who always ask questions, why this, why that. But I was very, very blessed with so many elders, so many gifted teachers who somehow, think, hey, little girl, come here. Let me teach you our ways. Little girls, come here. Let me tell you stories. Little girl, this is how we do things, right? And maybe that side of me is like I'm always eager and open to learn because I really was trying to figure out, like, why would a soul or star like me who, the mother was on birth control and decided to come through anyway. So I'm one of those 99.01, 11% that decided, hey, I'm going to come. Well, when I came, it wasn't, you know, all beautiful and glorious, right? I came in a time of war. I came in a time of transitions of moving from place to place to place, and then, living as, from here there. So, and then as I was going through life and having different journeys, somehow I was always was blessed and then encounter the right grandmother, the right teacher, the right healer to took me under their wings and saying, all right, we're going to do a drum circle. And when we leave, this is your turn. This is your opportunity. So we would gather weekly with women and we would drum. And when we drum at different intervals. So the intervals that we would drum would be the four directions, and then there would be heaven above and then earth below. And when we drum, it's a drum and a stick, right? So when you drum, you are bringing the yin and the yang together, and you're creating a beat. And that beat is a heartbeat. And we as human, we have control of the beat. We can control how fast or how slow we go. And the the beat or the frequency is really, you can't really think about it because it's not very analytical, like, like scientific, right? Oh, this is how we do it, right? It doesn't work like that. It's like music, right? How come some music can move us, but how come some music makes us really agitated? And how
Right.
come some music that just allows us to be like, I can't explain it why I'm crying, but I'm just crying, right? So the drum beat and the drum circle and the music, it's not, I wouldn't say it's music. It's more like a prayer that cannot be explained, or it just cuts through all the void just to get into the center of it all. And only the drum is a heartbeat, and it's our heartbeat that listens to that frequency that the brain cannot analyze. But the heart just knows. And the heart is the is the, what I call it, a chest, a treasure chest, or Pandora's box, right? Of like, hey, this frequency remind me of this when I was that before human,
Wow.
right?
Wow, that's
So
amazing. So, one last question regarding sacred daily habits. I know that you talk a lot about sacred daily habits and that you do practice some, and that there are some that exist in the universe. So, what would one small daily practice be that could shift someone from surviving to feeling spiritually aligned?
Ask that question again,
What
please.
is one small daily practice to help basically people feel aligned, spiritually aligned?
Breath
What
work.
breath work? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of breath work? Let's talk about it.
So you can't be here if you don't breathe, right?
Right.
And life is inspiration. You come here, you get inspired, inhale, right? You're inspiring, you inhale. And then what happened when you exhale? That's it. The
You
end.
release. Yeah.
Release, but it's also the end. So when you are getting ready to transition to another form, your last breath is your expiration. So you have inspiration is when you first come, and your expiration is when you exit. So from inspiration to expiration, that period of time, or you call the present moment, or you call it life, or you call it the the gift of inspiration, expiration. What do you do during that inspiration? And what do you do when you expire? So oftentimes that middle time of how long can you hold your breath? What happens with your breath when you hold your breath, right? So when you inspire, you get the gift of inspire is a gift of spirit that comes in. It's the breath of life that comes in. And as the breath of life moves inside the body and do its thing. So this is your life form, inspired and um beginning and ending. And with that gift or that pause in between, and this is also brings back to the music and the drumming, right? What do you do in that pause? And sometimes the pause could be a long pause, it could be a short pause, but the intensity of that pause is very important. So when we're talking about life and being in tune with spirit, for me, I think it's breath work. And breath work is the time where you usually a lot of people say, hey, here, practice this type of breath work, this type of exercise to increase your breath. For me, it's very simple. Just breathe. Exhale more than you inhale. So what does that mean? We have a tendency when we get inspiration, we hold on to that inspiration and we hold on to that breath because we could do it. Yeah, we're gonna force it. We're gonna do it. And what happens when you inspired and you hold your breath? You have a tight fist. Everything in you is holding, right? Can you get anything with a tight fist? No. So what happens? You need to exhale. Exhale means to let go. And when you let go, what happens to your body? What happens to your energy? It's open. And when you're open, then great things can come, good things can come. But when you're open, you are able to see, able to feel, and you're willing to let the spirit work through you. But when you inspire and you hold, you're like, no, no. And that's basically your ego, yourself saying, oh, I could do this. Yes, I can, right? And you're not letting spirit, you're not letting the divine take a hold of you to say, hey, this is what you need to do. And about the breath work, so in Tibetan medicine, every person or every human that comes in, you have a certain number of breath that you're allowed to use in this planet, in this world, in this time. And often when you use up your breath, that means your life span's going to cut shorter. and if you are wise in how to use your breath work, then your life force will expand. An example of that is if someone who is a little bit reckless, they live such a wild life, they're right? They are using up their breath. And when you hyperventilate, you use up your breath. Then what happens? All your organs is in the taxing mode. It's in the alarm phase. Oh my God, I gotta survive. I gotta survive the next day, right? After, if you do that over a period of time, what happens? You get sick. And then if you get sick, but you don't have enough currency, so you kind of use up a lot of your breath. So more likely you probably won't have that much left of life force or breath for you to live that long life. But when you look at meditators, you look at people who are very simple in living their life, what do? Their breath is somewhat maintained. It's not high, it's not low, but it's very flowing. And when you have a certain breath that goes through life, that is very flowing, very easy, and ease means there's no dis-ease, right? So if you don't have any dis-ease, then your life is in flow, is in flowing, then your breath will flow. So that means you get to extend your life force a little bit more. So be careful on being mindful and remind yourself, if you are if you are allowed with a certain limit of a number of breath, how do you use it? And this is why a lot of yogi, they talk about breath work, they talk about how to increase your vitality through breath work. And a lot of practitioners who often teach like, hey, do it this way or do it that way. And the students just like, hey, I learned this new technique and I'm gonna do this. So this is my precaution to all your listeners out there. There are a lot of good information, and there's also a lot of bad information. But you also have to figure out and learn about yourself. And this is where the Buddha says, I could tell you great things, but it's up to you how you take the information. Is it good for you? Is it bad for you? And this is an example of like people who are vegetarian or not vegetarian, right? Sometimes with a certain body, being vegetarian is good because that body could handle eating a lot of fruits and vegetables and non-meat form, right? But then there's certain body that they need the meat. They need that extra iron, right? Because that's how they are made. So putting on a person who it has a lot of needing a lot of iron, who are anemic, putting on being a vegetarian diet is detrimental for their health, right? So you got to know your body. You got to know yourself. I guess the most important thing about transformation, about being stuck, there are a lot of great teachers out there, a lot of information, a lot of things. We're at an age where information is in abundance. But taking too much of a good thing can be really detrimental to your health. So be mindful on what you intake in. Be mindful on what is good for you, not what your guru, what yoga says that's good for you. And this goes with a lot of the breath work at the same time. In the breath work, like in the yoga world, right? Everybody's like, "Oh, I want to open up my kundalini. This is how I do blah blah blah, working this breath." And then they do the breath work, and they have so much inspiration going in their body. Oh my God, this is cool. Okay, great job. You got it. You opened up your energy center. You got all this breath work. Uh-oh, inspiration comes in, and they say, "Oh, now you really want to do the work? We'll give you the work." Then what happens? Then they're so high in the spirit world that they don't even know how to ground themselves. We are here to be grounded, right? You could be high, but you guess what? We're still here on earth. You still have a body. You still have to be grounded. But then being grounded is being really hard when you're way up high and then being grounded. So that level from high to low is so much in extreme that you can't carry it because your energy cannot carry that. So what does that mean? That means you can do all these techniques to get to where you're going, but you got to know how far is too far.
Wow, that's
And
so
I
interesting.
and then that's what I'm saying. Like I'm not the type of person to say, oh, this one works and this one's not. But I'll tell you what's important. Important is, yeah, breath work, because you can't be in this world without your breath, right?
True. Yeah.
And being too much of one thing is not that great. And this is where a lot of the Asian cultures say, pick the middle way. So what is the middle way? Is knowing, hey, this is my boundary, and that's your present moment, right? This is where I am right now, and this is only what I could do. This is where I need to go. This is where I want to go. But sometime where you need to go and where you want to go, but if it's not destined for you to go there because your star chart, you know, your soul didn't come here to say, hey, this is the route. Maybe you are here on a totally different route, and maybe that's one of your lessons is to say, be open, you know, because the plan that you had might be thinking too small, right? But if you're open and you're like, okay, this is how much I can handle because this is where I am at the moment. Then the fruit that will open at the right time will show up. And sometimes the fruit that shows up will only cater to what your stomach can belly at the same time. And oftentimes when we do a lot of um, do a lot of teaching like, hey, this exercise is good for you. Or you could say, hey, this mango is so good for you, right? But maybe you can't eat the mango. Maybe you have an allergy to the mango. But everybody says the mango is so sweet and it's so great. But do you really know yourself that maybe you can't have mango? Maybe you are in a place that mango doesn't grow? Like, do you know that? Right? So then it all comes down to know thyself. So with every transformation, and this is where I was thinking about the year of the horse, right? And the fire horse. We just went through the year of the snake, and the year of the snake is the year of transformation, shedding, letting go, letting. And if you know the snake is down on the bottom, on the ground, right? It's low, it's hidden, it's sneaky and snaky, right? Now, and it's wood. It's a wood element. So wood element is very woodsy trees, okay? And now we're moving into the year of the horse. So from the snake, where it's all its bodies on the earth, and now you have the horse. The horse is rising high, but what is touching the earth? Oh, there are four legs. The whole body is up, not like the snake down below, right? Now the horse is all up. So everything has to be up. And we're in the year of the fire. So how does the wood go to fire? What spark? You got all the wood in the fire pit, right? How are you going to start your bonfire? You need a spark. How do you get the spark from the wood to the fire? What is that spark? Guess what? The spark is you. You are the spark. Because without spark, you wouldn't be here. So, and then are you going to give up because maybe your wood is a little bit wet? So it's going to take a lot more work to get the fire started. Are you gonna just wait and wait patiently until all the water dissipate in the wood and it'll be dry enough for you to start that spark to light the fire? Or are you gonna go and say, you know what? I can't do it by myself, but I'm gonna get my friends and I'm gonna get my posse and I'm gonna get the people who are like me and we're gonna do it together. What are you gonna do? What is your spark? And that's the question of what's happening within this year. So that's
Wow.
why it's a little bit difficult. And any time when there's a crisis is an opportunity for you to redefining yourself and reinventing yourself. So when people who are going through cancer and they go through a lot of struggle and a lot of pain, and what do the doctors say? You are in remission. Congratulations. You're in remission. Why do they call it remission? Because it's for the soul, it's for that spark to find a new mission. Because the mission that they were before doesn't work. That's why they are where they are because of cancer, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And cancer is what? Cancer is a disease that's attacking themselves. It's
Right.
attacking the autoimmune system. It's attacking itself. So how do you put cancer at bay? You make sure that your blood is alkaline. You make sure you heal, you stop in what is toxic. And when you stop in what is toxic and what's harmful to your body, then you find a new mission because you can't go back to where you are. We can't go back to where we were before 2020. It's a brand new world. And guess what? This brand new world, this double world, a lot of sages, a lot of people in the past has already told us about this. And sometimes it's hard for us to let go of the old world and be in the new world because being in the new world means the whole system has to collapse. It's collapsing right now. There's no boundaries. And when there's no boundaries, it takes little sparks to find out what is their purpose, what is their meaning, and set that boundary. And if they're going to set a boundary, they have to set a boundary with themselves, with their heart, from inspiration to expiration.
Right.
What's that present moment?
And that is full circle to what we just had a conversation about. So thank you so much, Kim. I really appreciate that you've taken time out today to come and play with me on the playground. Your information is unbelievable. And I will make sure that all of the information on how to connect with you is in the description below. And I look forward to one day having you back on the Mindset Playground if you'd like to come back.
Yeah, so can I also do a really quick plug?
Absolutely. Is this about your journal? Oh, yes, that beautiful journal.
So this
Yes.
is my journal called The Season of Growth that Julie and I have created. So what we have been talking about is about transformation in going through life and difficulty, right? So we have created this journal for allowing the persons to write down and document where they are in different aspect of their soul, their spirit, their health, and what's going on. And it's it's just a really great way of knowing yourself. And like I said, you nobody can help or heal you unless you know who you are,
Right.
right? So with that, the
It
best
is a
way you
beautiful
can
journal.
support me.
I've seen it. I've looked through it, and I will definitely make sure that the link is in the description, and all of the information on how to get a copy of that is available.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. It would
Thank
be
you.
very helpful for us.
Yes, it will. Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. All right. I will talk to you later. Bye, everybody, and have a great, beautiful year of the horse. And remember, it's about fire. It's about creating spark. So be that spark of life and of love at the same time. All right. Bye-bye.
This has been the Mindset Playground with host LouAnne Hunt. Tune in each week for another daily dose of positivity right here on the Mindset Playground.